Now I have a few remarks. It's been an honor and a pleasure to serve as the chairman this past year. It's actually hard to believe that it's been a year. Time spent as the chairman of the chamber is somewhat like Einstein's theory of relativity. The speed is the same no matter who measures it or how fast the person measuring it is going, and it's a pretty fast pace. I do want to thank my team at Freese Nichols for their support and allowing me to do this. And a special thanks to my wife, Karen, for her many years of encouragement and tolerance. I added that to the speech. She's a long-suffering wife. And of course, my thanks go to Bill and all the chamber staff for providing me with the information and tools necessary to lead the board and serve all of you, our members. You know, I do have to say one of the best things about being chairman, quite frankly, was the sports series luncheons where I got to sit with John Daniels and TCU's Gary Patterson and the Dallas Cowboys. Steve was there, and I mean, this is a real treat. So, Dee, you got some fun coming. But next to that, quite frankly, one of the most enjoyable things I've had is working with the staff. Now, I'm gonna let out a secret a few of you know, and the past chairmen understand this, that we're just eye candy. I mean, bottom line. And that the real work gets done by staff, and they are thorough, engaging. They are really what makes it happen. And Bill, you great leadership for a great group of folks, and I've really appreciated their support. And again, earlier this week, we honored 4 of those team members who have been with the chamber for more than 25 years, and I want them to stand as we recognize that. Bill Thornton, Marilyn Gilbert, Nettie Matthews, and Rosalind Sullivan. Congratulations. Bill is a long-suffering president of the chamber, and his staff is long-suffering staff members of the chamber. So, but that kind of experience, consistency, and institutional knowledge is invaluable, especially on our management team, because some projects, for instance, the Chisholm Trail Parkway, they don't happen in a physical year or even in a decade or even over a few decades, but you got to stay after it. City game changers like the Parkway take dead fast patience and persistence. It takes getting in front of the issues, laying groundwork, chopping through the red tape, finding another path. And despite economic downturns or political shifts, it takes trailblazing. The chamber has taken on this role in our community for 133 years, so you can go about your day-to-day business of running your organization, turning a profit, and accomplishing your mission. In your folders, we provided an annual report with the theme Blazing a Trail with examples of the year's accomplishments. You'll find all the numbers there, so I'll just briefly hit a few highlights. In my first interview as chairman in the chamber letter, I mentioned that one of my top priorities was transportation. Several months later, we had the opportunity to act on that priority when Proposition 1 was put to the voters, who approved it at an astounding rate of 80% statewide. In short, Proposition 1 allows money from the Rainy Day Fund to be transferred to the Texas Highway Fund. And admittedly, it's a Band-Aid, but thanks to organizations like the Chamber getting the word out, we do now have $1.7 billion used towards our roadway, and we all know we need it. And also, after kind of a rocky start, we're celebrating several victories in this legislative session as well, especially salvaging the Texas Enterprise Fund to strengthen our economic development negotiations for corporate relocations and expansions. On the economic development front, Fort Worth and Dallas Chamber's partnership with DFW Airport took us on more joint missions to Asia and Australia, and as we explore opportunities to expand our business and tourism. During the trip to China, our delegation toured NGC, a wind turbine gear manufacturer, and while there, the president announced that the new facility at Alliance, which includes research, development, and manufacturing, will serve as the company's North American headquarters, and that's a great victory. Last year, the economic development staff answered 96 RFPs from site selection consultants and conducted 24 site visits, with some companies visiting more than once. The competition's fierce. We got a great staff in place to handle it, though, but we are on several short lists, and we're keeping our fingers crossed for a major announcement this month, so stay tuned. We also reached some milestones with our ongoing education and workforce initiatives. An outstanding example is the Go Centers, where students can go get information and counseling on higher education or careers. House Bill 5 legislation passed in 2013 now requires early decision from diploma plans as early as ninth grade. And with increased communications to students and families, annual student visitors to the Fort Worth Go Center surpassed 20,000. As a result, this collaboration between business and education is being eyed as a model program by other communities. And finally, this has been a banner year for member involvement, planning, and growth. Last May, our Young Professionals Group, Vision Fort Worth, held a strategic planning session and formed a 5-year plan to position Vision as the business YP group in Fort Worth. The foundation of that plan is an enthusiastic mentoring program with 25 city leaders paired with young professionals, as well as the one-off events like lunch tables of 10 with a mystery mentor. I got to be a mystery mentor. I even surprised myself. I didn't know I was coming, but it was really, it was really interesting. It was probably one of the most fun things I've done this year. And there's many of you in the audience have been involved in that. We want to thank you for that help. We also undertook strategic planning for our 5 area councils. The area councils were conceived in the 1970s as a way to involve businesses and communities beyond downtown. After 42 years, those councils have evolved in their own. But we decided to revisit the concept to see what was working and what needed to be adjusted. We surveyed the membership to see what activities and issues were important to you. As a result, we know these 3 things are still high on value: relationship building, business trends and updates, and business advocacy. Due to population growth and development in northwest and southwest Tarrant County, the council boundaries have been redrawn. More small groups, grassroots activities will be planned so members feel more connected and more engaged. We'll be rebranding the area councils later this year, so stay tuned. Without question, the highlight of the year occurred in February when we organized a 3-day member competition like no other, like absolutely no other if you were involved. 150 volunteers of questionable mental capacity jumped in and completed in teams with goals of bringing in 150 new members. As part of the team motivation, people donned costumes. Craig Harbuck was Elvis, not a very good looking Elvis, but he was Elvis. Allison Baumeister wore a tiara, and Whit Smith wore a beard, which he loved so much he's still wearing it. And Bill Thornton did push-ups, and Wade Wallace and Mark Nurden barked like dogs. That was the highlight of the deal. But evidently it worked, and I have to tell you, when Bill sent me the email to say, look at this, but don't make a decision until you talk to me, I thought, man, there's no way we're going to do this in this conservative group, but we did. We brought in 234 new members, 11% increase, which brings our numbers of member businesses above 2,100 for the first time since the recession. I can't mention all 150 volunteers today, but those of you who are involved in the membership event, would you please stand and let us thank you? Come on. Not as many people stood. I guess I kind of laid bad groundwork for you when I said the limited mental capacity. But it was really a wonderful event, and we're going to do it again. Dee, I know you can't wait to see what's in store for you next year, and I'm coming up with some really good costume ideas for you. Incredible Hulk or something along those lines, but be thinking about it. And more successes and the people who make it possible are in the annual report, and even that had to be trimmed, as does this speech. So rather than quote Churchill or Twain, I'd like to leave you with a few quotes from members and others that illustrate the difference this chamber is making for their businesses. From Lisa Cobb, Precise Energy Products, she says, as a company that primarily exports, our involvement with the chamber is a big plus in the international community when we bid on projects. Candace Davis, a graduate of Arlington Heights and Jarvis Christian College, says, because of the Go Center, I was able to enroll in college and be the first in my family to graduate. Navigating the enrollment, scholarship, and financial aid process was overwhelming, but the Go Center made college admissions easier and therefore possible for me. And from Brett Jeffries, Handyman Matters of Fort Worth, I can attribute a third of my business to my chamber connections. The chamber's helped me create a network of like-minded business people I can trust and help build credibility for myself and my company. And finally, I want to leave you a quote from Mr. Freese of Freese Nichols. I've heard him say this many times: always leave the wood pile higher than you found it. And I think we got a lot of Aggies and Longhorns in this. Well, I'm going to be nice to you, Dee, that understand and relate to that adage. And I think that's all about community service, is go leave that wood pile higher than what you found it. And I know, Dee, you're going to do a great job and build on the successes. So I want to thank you again for this opportunity to be your chairman.